So FYI, I have just started recording. Um, yeah. Faith, did you manage to how was the assignment? Did you manage to send in something?
Yeah, I've sent it actually today. I had forgotten
Okay.
to send the PR.
Okay.
Yeah, but to, it is a bit challenging, but it's not as bad.
Okay.
I'm still getting used to it. Yeah,
Okay.
but I was able to make the changes and integrate Tailwind into the code.
Okay. That's really good. I will take a look.
Mm,
Let me see. We'll take a look at it and leave comments. Um,
okay.
so yeah, I'll take a look at it and leave comments. What about you? Hi Abby, how's your week? And how was the assignment?
My week was a bit stressful. Yeah, I just woke up and then I realized I missed my alarm. But yeah, I slept kind of late trying to work in some assignments. But the assignment was okay. I was able to complete it. Just a few places I got stuck, but yeah.
Okay, great. Because I think today's just that day. I snoozed my alarm as well.
I,
That's I was a couple of minutes late. But
mm,
let me share my yeah that. Or should I just hmm, the good thing is you've already started the assignment. So at least Morad, I know I've seen your PR. I have reviewed it. I have left some comments on it. I hope you'll get to check it out and um, make some adjustments with from my comments. Faith, I've just seen your PR. I will review it, or we can review it together. It depends on how much time we get. Um, and then Abby, I'd say just send a PR, even if you haven't completed
mhm.
everything, just so that I can see what you've already started. Can give you some feedback on what you already have as you work on finishing. But
Okay.
yeah, it's good that you guys have made progress. That's really good. Uh, let me let me now share my screen so that we can get started. I'm still waking up, guys. I'm sorry, but uh, yeah. So um, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, can see it.
So I'll put it on full view. So I forgot to change this page. Let me just do this. Good. Okay. So um, today, which is supposed to be week 5, we're still going to talk about week 4's work, and that's mainly because last week I was in another place and my recording setup was just different. The internet wasn't that great. There's a lot of moving things, and we couldn't cover user stories, which is what we're supposed to do last week. So we'll do that this week, and then I'll see how I can squeeze in 2 sessions in the coming weeks. So I'm still looking over which sessions make sense to kind of squeeze together, but I'll let you guys know. I'll make at the end of the day, I'll make sure we finish on time. So today we are covering user stories. Anyone familiar with user stories in Agile? Anyone? Please speak up because I can't see because I'm presenting. And let me do this. Let me remove Discord from the screen. Put it where I can see you guys so that if you send something in the chat. Okay. Okay, Morad. So I was saying that okay, I'm not sure which part you haven't heard, but I was saying that this week we will cover user stories. I know we were supposed to cover this last week, and then I was asking if anyone is familiar with user stories. If you've heard of it, if you've used it before. Anyone? Anyone familiar with Agile? I know I had asked this question before.
On user stories, is it the ones there's an echo?
Is an echo from my side?
Yeah, I can hear myself.
Uh-oh. Okay, let me see.
Yeah,
I think huh.
yeah.
How about now? Was it there before?
No, it wasn't before you shared your screen.
Hmm.
It wasn't there.
So let me see. I gotta see where that could be coming from. Um, I really don't see where. Is it also from my end, like when I'm talking?
No, but it's gone now. Oh, I don't know. It's I can hear myself.
I'm sorry, I don't know where. I
I
haven't
didn't understand.
changed anything apart from the screen sharing.
Oh,
Um, let me stop it.
okay.
Can you hear the echo now?
I can't hear it when you talk, but I can hear it when I'm speaking. Now I can't hear it. It was there when you shared your screen.
Okay. So could
Yeah,
it be that are you using your headset or
yeah, I'm
two?
using my headset.
Are you using two screens?
No, just one.
Um, what could that be? Okay, I honestly don't know what that. Let me try and share again and see. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, so let me know if you can still hear the echo.
Yeah, I can't hear it from you, but now I can't. Now it's good.
Okay, good. That is
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Okay, because that would be so annoying.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I was asking about if anyone is familiar with user stories, but no one said anything. And then I went back to if anyone is familiar with Agile. I think we had kind of talked
Okay.
about this before.
Yeah, we talked about user stories before, and I remember we gave examples
Mhm.
of user stories I like in terms of our app, we were saying like I created categories because I didn't want to mix up my tasks. Like that's kind of a story from the user. Yeah, that's what I remember about.
Okay.
user
Yeah.
stories.
Okay. That's a really good start. Um, so one thing you've mentioned that's important is it's coming from the user and it's like a statement. Anyone else want to try before um I say something or I like and I want to say give the correct answer because it's your answer is also um partially correct. I'd say there's just a few things missing. Anyone else want to try? It's just data about what the user wants. Um, yes, yes, it is, but I'm looking for, I think, something specific. Yes, yes, that's exactly. But now, usually, user stories come in the format of as a dash, a particular user. I want to dash, like do something, so that I can dash, like benefit from something. So it's usually in that format. Remember, in a system, there's more than one user. It can be an admin, it can be the customer, it can be the what? Um, Developer can be a user. So we leave that first part to the user. So as a dash, I want to dash, like do something in the system so that I can dash, like have a benefit or like get something done in the system. So usually we pair these user stories. So first of all, we have these user stories in Agile, and if you guys remember, Agile is it's a methodology where we do things iteratively, like in small batches of work over and over again as we review the work and continue iterating. Iterating just means doing again and again. So with user stories, we usually have things called acceptance criteria. So what does that mean? It means that for what will it take for us to say that this user story has been achieved? So how do we measure that the user has been able to do this thing that we've written down? Like as a user, I want to dash, like I want to do this thing so that I can be able. How do you make sure that has been done? So we usually attach them to acceptance criteria. So I was planning on going through the previous assignment. Just wanted to quickly, before we get into this week's work, just ask how you guys were doing the assignment. I know Edwin has sent his work. Supposed to work on the home page and the tasks page, which he did, and I have reviewed his PR and sent out feedback. There's just a few things that he's missing. Abby, I will be waiting for your PR. I know you said you already started. Faith, I will also take time to review your PR. You said you just sent it. I've seen it on GitHub. Murad, I've already reviewed your PR, and I noticed that you worked on profile, and I didn't see anything on categories. I'm not sure if you remembered. You were also supposed to work on categories, or it was a lot of work. But I left that comment there just so that you can also add that work for um, categories. But you still did a good job with the migration. Anyway, I left my comments on the PR. So I've seen Noella is not here today, but I will follow up with her on her pages as well as Martin. It's not here today, but I will follow up. So um, I will, if you're going to send a PR, I'll review by the end of today so that we can continue making changes. Okay. So I guess I will repeat myself in a couple of things, but what is a user story? So it's a short, value focused requirement from a user's perspective. It's always from a user's perspective. You'll find that when you're developing anything, you should always put the user's interest, the focal point, at the center. Like it's always about the user. Why? Because at the end of the day, we're building this product for the user, not for ourselves. So we can't look at something and say we're happy with it, so let's ship it, let's deploy it. We still need uh, the user's feedback and the user's acceptance. The format is exactly the same as what I had mentioned, but this one is more, you know, looks good. So this parts in brackets is just what is going to change. So as a customer, I want to, okay, let's use our application as an example. As a user, I want to create categories so that I can easily organize my work into logical groups. Anyone else with an example? You can use the pages that you're working on, something to do with your pages.
Um, for like let's say history page, as a user, I want to view a history page showing my completed tasks from today and yesterday so that I can view what I accomplished recently.
Yeah, that's also a good one. Um, yeah, you want to view those pages so that you can see your recent um,
Accomplishments.
accomplishments or activities, but yeah, accomplishments. Mm, yeah, actually, yeah, that covers it. So, anyone else? Faith, for your um, anything on your
I did the
page?
individual task page.
Yeah.
So as a user,
Mm-hmm.
I want to um, create tasks, subtasks. Um, I want to divide my task into subtasks so that I can easily instructions.
Sorry, uh, um, you're breaking up. Hello, hello. Could you come up again? I can't hear you at all. Is it my end? Can you hear Faith? Is it just me? Or
Yeah, she's breaking out.
oh, okay, okay,
Mm.
okay. I thought it was just me. So what about you, Morad? Okay, so let's see. Let's see. As a user, I want to up, um, access the profile page so that I can update or make changes to my profile. That could be an example. And then for category, I think I gave an example on category. Like as a user, I want to group my tasks into categories. So I want to use the category page to group my tasks into logical categorical groups, something like that. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, you guys have an idea. Like it kind of makes sense, right? So that's usually the format. So as a this person, I want to be able to do something so that I can get this benefit. So it's user stories are important because they provide clarity and test makes a feature testable, and we have a shared at the end of the day we have a shared understanding of what is supposed to be done. So using the examples we've given, uh, we can easily test if something is not working as expected. Like if I am not able to access the trash, or I'm not able to access the history page, so that I can do a specific thing. Like we can easily identify that and be like, what's the problem? What needs to be done? Is there a bug in the system? Is it that we just haven't added a particular page or a particular um, thing in the system to make sure that this user story is is um, is possible? So we use this INVEST acronym, and it means that a good user story should be independent, should be negotiable, meaning can be flexible, should be valuable, estimated, estim, estimable, meaning you can estimate how long it will take. It should be small and it should be testable. Um, so independent just means each of them is covering a specific part of a capability in the system. They're not overlapping. When they're negotiable, just means it's not fixed. We can make some changes to it. Valuable. It's I don't know how to define that without using the same name. Valuable, like it's of use to us in a way. In this case, it's of use to us because it helps us define a specific thing about what the user is supposed to do and for what reason. And then estimable is just we can have we can estimate, is it about time? Let me just confirm. So estimable is the story is clear enough for the team to estimate the effort required. Yes, actually, effort required. So you get to see when we're using it. We will also be defining estimation of effort as well as acceptance criteria. So estimable is more about the effort that's required to implement that user story. And then testable is that the story has an acceptance criteria, which is clear on how it can be tested and be verified for completion. So acceptance criteria. Uh, this is technically how we measure if something is done. Like in this case, a user story. What should be there so that we can say that this user story has been implemented successfully? Like we can say it has been, the implementation is complete. We can use bullet points for this, or we can use gherkin, which is a way of writing out an acceptance criteria. It covers you talking about, given this thing, uh, when this happens, then this should happen. We'll look at an example. But this just helps you write the acceptance criteria in a very clear way. And then acceptance criteria are very important because they help us guide our development. And it also makes it easy to test and demonstrate how our user stories are going um, to be done, like the boundaries within which the user stories will be implemented. Let's look at an example. Okay, we'll look at an example after this slide. But the other thing that we need to talk about is DoD, which is the definition of done. So we mentioned here that acceptance criteria, these are the things that the user story needs to have for us to call it done. But what is done? How do we define done? So an acceptance criteria is it checks on behavior and edge cases. But for us, defining something as done is more about the quality of the work. So in our case, have we added tests to it? It could be manual tests, it could be automatic tests. Is it, for instance, responsive? Like, is that feature, if we look at it on the website, on the desktop, and we look at it on the mobile, is it good? Is it accessible? It could be, are the color contrasts good? Are the fonts good? Meaning other users who are not your typical users, can they easily access or use the software? Excuse me. And then is it deployed to staging? So normally we have three stages of development. We have the normal, when developing, there are three stages. So we have the normal development, where what we are currently doing, where if you notice in your run.py, you set it as um, debugging equals true and all these things. Like we're running it locally, we are making changes and all that. And if we had a development DB, which we do, it's locally. Or even it could be, we could be connecting to a DB online, and most likely it would be a dev database. So it won't be the one that we're using for the final product. Next, we have staging. I know currently we don't have it in our system, but ideally we should have staging so that it shows us how the app is going to look like during in prod. So staging has similar features to prod. It's just that it's only us who can see it, and it's a good intermediate stage because we are able to see how the application will work if it was sent in production. So we'll make sure that staging is using the same resources, same settings and everything like production, but it's just not accessible to the public. So that if there's anything wrong, you can quickly identify it and then go back to development, make changes, and then check again and see if it's okay. So that once that stage, like everything is okay, done tests, we've done we've reviewed everything and it's looking okay, is when we can now push to uh, production. So there's dev, staging, development, staging, and production. Okay. So we'll have an acceptance criteria for each of the user stories, but you'll find that we'll have a definition of done to all of the all which will apply to all of the stories or a group of the stories, but mostly in this case all of them, because if you're talking about responsiveness, we're looking at it as a whole app, and not just one part that is covered by a user story. When you're talking about tests, when we get to writing automated tests with Playwright, you'll find that these tests will cover different parts of the system or the application. And that, in essence, will cover most of the stories, if not all of the stories. And it's something that will be run every time we make changes to the system, just to make sure that everything is working okay. So this is the difference between done and acceptance criteria. So now let's look at an example. So the user story is, as a user, I want to create a task with a title and optional details so that I can track my work. That's a simple enough user story. So the acceptance criteria in this case would be, given I am on the new task form, when I enter a title, an optional description, remove the due date, label, color, categories, because this is, I know we don't have this right now, but we're supposed to have all of this. So when I enter this details and I click save, then the task is persisted and I am redirected to the task detail page and the task appears in my task list. Sorry. So you have given, when, then. So this three covers the whole breakdown of it breaks down the acceptance criteria in a very clear way, in a step by step kind of way. And then we have an edge cases in the acceptance criteria. And in this case, it's if the title is required, then if I don't put in a title, then there should be an error. And for the database, if there's a database issue, then a database error should show a friendly message. And you don't get this long stack trace, like something gibberish, which users might not understand. You might understand, it might be helpful to you as a developer, but to someone else who's not technical, then it'll just be gibberish. Do you guys have any questions about this page or anything that we've covered here? Does it make sense? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So how are we going to create these user stories? In our case, we're going to use GitHub issues. Has anyone used GitHub issues before? Anyone?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's okay.
I haven't.
Okay, it's okay. So they are a feature on GitHub. I don't know if you've seen where they are. Have you seen where they are. They're anyway. We will do a demo, so we'll get to see them. So they're just on the top menu with the same level as PRs, like where PRs are. You'll also find issues just on the just before PRs. So we will use issues to create our user stories. So we'll have the user story as the um, title of that issue, and then we will tag that issue with a user story tag so that we differentiate that as a user story compared to other issues. So issues are just so hard to not use the same word to define it. But issues are just issues. Like they are things that need to be um, uh, looked into so that the app is working, so that the app will work as expected. Like things that need to be looked into. Yeah, looked into. Yeah. And we'll use the same format. As a user, I want to do this so that I can benefit in this way. We'll also include estimation of effort in the description. Remember the user stories are estimable. And then we won't get into that in detail, but we'll just have that section. And then we will also include our acceptance criteria in the form of Gherkin. We'll use the Gherkin method. And then I'll show you guys how we can use these issues. Now in Agile, we can use it for sprint planning. And for us to do that, we'll have to use GitHub projects. Is anyone familiar with GitHub projects? Anyone?
Not hi.
Hi, Nola.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Happy to have you. Happy to see you. Yeah.
Happy to be with you guys too.
Yeah. So you were talking about you were talking when I was asking if you guys are familiar with GitHub projects. Are you familiar with GitHub projects?
Uh, I don't think.
Okay. Okay. I guess today we will be learning a couple of new things. So, but is anyone familiar? Do you guys remember sprints? It's something to do with Agile. Anyone remember what a sprint is or what we use sprints for?
Okay, from my end, I've worked in a sprint environment.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 2 weeks, like they are categorizing tasks based on 2 week sprints. And yeah, each task from the developers side, QA side, were estimated within the span of 2 weeks.
Nice. So that's just it. It's a period in which you agree that you will have at the end of that period or that sprint an MVP, a minimum viable product that is deployable, or you can actually see. Usually they term it as deployable. You can share that with the user and they can see what you've done. So sprints, like Noella has mentioned, are usually 2 weeks. In our case, we'll have them as 1 week because we meet every week. And then with sprints, there is something called sprint planning and sprint management. So sprint planning is just a meeting with which we come together and agree on the tasks that will be done in that sprint. And then sprint management is more like how do we manage tasks in that sprint. So Actually, this it should be issues will be used for sprint management, not necessarily planning, because planning is just a meeting. Anyway, we'll also look at that. We'll also look at an example. But sprints, using sprints are it comes under agile. Remember we said agile is about developing small chunks at like iteratively, right? So we pick a feature, we work on it, we test it, we deploy it, we review, and then we have something at the end of every sprint we have something called retrospectives where we check what we could have done better and all that. And then we do it all over again. Take another feature, make uh, break it down, we do it, we review, we deploy, we test, we review, we deploy, do the same thing. So again and again and again. Um, and this is with, so before we used to have the waterfall. I think, I'm not sure if I covered this, but the waterfall would just be like, take a huge project, have fixed stages where you're starting with requirements gathering, then analysis, then design, then coding, implementation, and then testing, and then deployment. But software isn't that fixed. So things change all the time, uh, plans change all the time, the user might change their mind. So if it's fixed and you're in the implementation phase and the user is coming and telling you, I actually want to add this, or something changes in the technology you're using, and you cannot implement it with what you thought you'd implement it with, it's going to mess everything up. So hence the agile methodology, where we're just using picking small chunks of work. And the most important thing here is that we have something at the end of that sprint. Like at the end of 2 weeks, we have something to show the user. And when we are showing the user is going to give us feedback. And from that feedback, we're going to adjust accordingly or just continue with the plan that we had already. So exactly, Murad. So it's a sort of a feedback from the user. Exactly. Because remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the user. You're not building this tool for yourself and other developers. You're building this tool or this product for your user. Okay, so now let's do a demo on creating user stories. And then we'll also do a demo on using GitHub project. So before we go there, do we have any questions? Anyone? Okay, so let's start with user stories. Let me bring this here. Let me know if you can still see it. Excuse me. Can you still see my um can you still see my screen?
Or still, it still shows demo users.
Oh my. Okay. I think what I did was I let me share the whole screen so that I do not have to keep um so let me know if you can see the screen now. Yeah, I'm on GitHub right now.
I can, yeah.
Okay, that's great. So let me just look for something before I get there, and I have found it. Okay, cool. So I was telling you guys where you can find. Is this? Should I zoom in a little bit, or is this okay?
I can see it well.
Okay. So this is the part I was telling you guys about. Usually we go to pull requests, right? And then create a new pull request or something like that. Abby, you can see you've sent your PR. That's great. But this is where you can also find the issues, and this is also where you can find the projects. So issues. This is just this is one of the examples I did for to test, but we will come in and click on the new issue button, and then from here we will add our user story. So I want to add the user story on creating a task. So how would this go? Anyone or everyone? You can actually just say it at the same time, like a song. Be so happy. So how would we have this? I want to create a user story that covers creating a task.
Uh, on the title, can you say ability to create a task, or you have to start with as a user? I want to
Yes.
be able to create a task
Yes.
so
So.
that
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
as a user, I want to be able to create a task.
uh-huh.
I want to create a task. Reason, I don't have any reason in mind.
Yes. Anyone? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Anyone else who can finish? So that why do we want to, what's the whole point of creating a task?
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can clarify what I need to do,
Okay.
what needs to be done.
I can identify. That's a good one, actually. Uh-huh. Um, any other ideas? Or we can, okay, we can go with this so that I can identify what needs to be done. So now we need to add our estimation, effort estimation of effort. We will do this later. We can term that in form of um, hours needed for that specific user story, but we can do that later. But the other thing here is the acceptance criteria. Okay, so you guys remember what the example that we had, right? This one. So what was the acceptance criteria for that? It's just the same thing because it's the same user story. Given I am on the, so we can put it as new task form, or actually it's the new task form. I don't know if we've explicitly defined it as a form, but given I am on that form, I've clicked on the new task button, create new task. When I enter a title and optionally description and all these other details, and I click save, then the task is persisted and I am redirected to the task detail page, and the task appears in my task list. So we have this. I'll just copy it exactly how it is. Um, I have so many things open. So this is our acceptance criteria. And then we also have the age for the edge cases, which was with regards to if something goes wrong. Remember our alternate flow? If you guys remember the use cases, like if something goes wrong, what are we supposed to do? Like how are we supposed to handle it? So in our case, we have two edge cases. So if someone doesn't put a title, which is a required field, what happens? And if there's an issue with the database, what happens? So I'll just add that there. So now we have our acceptance criteria and age acceptance criteria. So what else were we supposed to do? If anyone remembers? Anyone? There's an
Um,
additional step.
how about, for instance, a business requirement?
Mm, no, it, it's not. It's not a requirement for the user story. On so a business requirement would fall
Yeah.
under requirements when we're talking about functional and non-functional requirements. That's when we'll cover what does the business need for this app. Like, what does the business need in this app? Like, do they need a feature to be existent? Do they need some sort of dependability on the app? Um, and that means, like, should it have in a non-functional space, like should it should be secure, reliable, uptime should be this fast, uptime should be this much, like 99 point whatever percent, or
Okay.
speed of stuff. So business needs are usually covered in the functional and in the SRS, and functional and non-functional requirements. So
Oh,
for
also this is more like a, okay.
mhm.
Yeah, I think I was confusing because like uh like I was combining the technical requirements with the business requirements on one page. So technically, when creating a new issue, like this one, it should be separate. It should be separated from business requirements.
Well, I would say this. So let's look at it this way. So our goal is to have the user stories, right? And the user
Yeah.
stories are just, we are creating a story. And I'm so sorry for repeating the word in the definition, but we're trying to understand what the
Mm-hmm.
user should be able to do and why they would want to do it. So we are defining these stories so that we can break it down into manageable tasks when we're implementing. So we're only
Mm-hmm.
using issues in this case because we're using GitHub, and it's a good, it makes sense. It's a good uh, approach, I'd say, to use it, to have it under issues.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we could have, if we had another platform like Trello or Jira, we
Uh-huh.
could have used it. It's just that we are on GitHub, and we're like, let's use the issues, let's define our user stories under issues. So
Okay. That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not an issue like a bug, because an issue can be a bug. You can have it as a feature, depending on how you label, like what's what. Like you've decided, like if you look at this, it could be a documentation, like you've created an issue and you want it to be it, it's you're creating an issue and you're like, it falls under a duplicate thing, or this is something that is going to be, it's a bug issue, or
Mm-hmm.
in essence, issues are just things that you're going to fix, like something that has come up about the system that you're going to work on. So this label just
Okay.
help you categorize. So
Okay.
your initial question was on, not necessarily a question. You are looking at it as a business. What did you call it?
Like business requirements.
Business
Yeah.
requirement. Yeah. So in this
Mm-hmm.
case, we won't really, to an extent, it kind of covers it, because when you call it a business requirement, it's still, in our case, it could be the customer, right? Like the user. So we could have one of
Yeah.
the stories that covers something that they require. So I won't necessarily use the term business requirement at this point. I think a business requirement would fall best at when we are writing the SRS, software requirement specification, and then when we're writing the requirements, the functional and non-functional, because now that's when the business requirements are, you know,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was asking
Okay.
about what's needed, like what's left for us to finish this, and I kind of almost have given you guys the answer. I don't know if you guys got you got it or not. Anyone? Let me go back to the.
Could you please repeat the question?
So we are on
Could
GitHub,
you please
right?
repeat the question?
Yeah. So we are on
Mm-hmm.
GitHub, and we said we'd use GitHub
Mm-hmm.
issues to we'd use GitHub issues to track our user stories.
Yeah.
So we have the story itself here as a dash. I want to dash so that I can, you know, this one is okay. So we defined it. What did we also say about user stories? It also
Mm-hmm.
needs estimation of effort and acceptance criteria. So we have that. We have our estimation of effort, even though we haven't defined it with this to be done. It will be done later. But we also have our acceptance criteria, right? There was another
Yeah.
thing that we were supposed to have so that we finish this, like we create it, officially create it as a user story. I don't know if you guys remember. And I've even kind of touched on it though, given you a hint. Anyone?
The type of issue.
Almost there. It is. It's true. I can see there's a type here, but it's not. It's not type. It'll. There's this. We're so close. So close. Try again, please. It's actually yes type, but we're using a different way to say type or to categorize it. Anyone? You guys are so close. Anyone?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's go back to that slide on. Uh-huh. Anything there that you guys see that anything? Trust me, it's not a trick question. It's not, I'm not trying to mess with your head or anything like that. So there's just one thing. Anything that you guys can get from this page that we haven't done.
Probably the sprint planning.
No, this will come after we've
Mm,
created the issue. So we are
okay.
in that process of creating a user story in form of an issue.
Mm.
Anything else?
Maybe like the description. We have the title, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure. The title sounded self-explained.
Yeah,
Or
so we have this
can
part,
you,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
As the title. We already have this part. We just added
Yeah.
TBD to be done because we haven't, and we also have this part.
Yeah.
What else do we need to do?
Use a story tag. Uh,
Yes. And that will come in form of a label. So
okay.
remember, we
Oh,
have
okay.
so many issues, right? Some of them are issues with regards to documentation, with bugs. Something has been duplicated, so we want to bring it up so that we can work on it and remove the duplicate item. Or someone wants help with something, they can use this. So we label it as a user story so that when we come to issues, we can easily identify user stories from the, because if we don't label it, we won't be able to know where our user stories are. Let's assume this is a big project and we have so many things going on. and we have a lot of issues that have been created for different things. It would be hard if without the label, it would be very hard to get to it, like to differentiate it with other things, the other issues. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
it makes sense.
Okay, so that's it. It wasn't a trick question. It
I have a
wasn't.
question.
Uh-huh.
Is every issue like connected with its own repo, or how do you like? Where is the issue like addressing? Is it like on a repo or
That's a good question. So let's go back to code.
yeah?
So if you look at this, we are in the Ongea task repo.
Oh, I meant a branch. Like when you
Oh,
create a branch,
no, it's attached
yeah,
to a repo.
we need an issue.
It's attached to, yeah.
Okay,
So if you let me change this to another one, so you'll see the issues will still remain the same. So
okay,
it's attached to a repo, to a, yeah, the whole repository. Yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah, but that's a good question. Same to this. So essentially, all of this are dependent on the repository as a whole. Like actions, you will get to see them when you're doing automated tests. We'll have them running automatically, independent of whichever branch it is, as long as it's under that repo, our repo. Yeah. Any other question? Okay. So now we have looked at creating user stories using issues, but we want to make use of these issues through agile methodology. Excuse me. In our case, we are using sprints. And we can even say, to be specific, we're going to use like a Kanban board. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Kanban board, but let me make changes to this title. Um, okay. So you guys mentioned that you haven't used a GitHub project before, right?
Yeah, I've never used it before.
Not yet, anyway. Yeah. So today I'm so happy to be introducing you guys to all those things. It's very, very important. So you remember how we were using Trello for stuff? We don't necessarily need to use it for, we don't need to use it for user stories. We don't need to use it for product management. We can actually keep everything on GitHub and use GitHub projects instead. So let me go back to projects. So projects are just a way for us to manage our sprints or tasks, or let's create a new project and let me show you the options that you have. So you can manage, um, you can do team planning. So you can manage your team's work items and plan upcoming cycles, or use Kanban. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kanban, but it's just like it's a board that has columns like to do, in progress, testing, done. I don't know if you guys have seen that before. It's a way to kind of see, to manage tasks, to see how everything is faring. Like, is there anything that's actively being done? Has anyone completed something? Is something under review? Like on under those different columns. Anyway, it's a way to clearly, as a team, manage work. So you can create a project using predefined templates like this one or Kanban, or if you want to focus on a feature release or a bug tracker, you can use this predefined templates. Iterative development, product launch. If you want to create a roadmap or a retrospective, different templates for different goals. In our case, we want a Kanban, and this helps us visualize our projects and see who's doing what and where they are. You know, so we don't need to create a new project because I already have that project created. So let's assume I clicked on Kanban and then we got to this point. So these columns, I made changes to the titles. They were not like this. I think they were to do, in progress, and done. So these columns are here to help us organize stuff. So the first part is our sprint backlog, which will have our user stories. Remember, we mentioned a sprint can be 1 or 2 weeks long, depending on how long we agree. Typical time, oh my God, typical time is 2 weeks. But in our case, we could say a week because we meet every week to go through work. So whatever user stories we want to cover in that week, we'll put it here. And then let me actually do that while we are talking. So let me go and create an item. So I don't want to create a new issue because we already have issues, right? But if we wanted to, we could just create one from there. But I can take one that's already existing. And I want to focus on issues because if you look at this, there are some PRs that are coming in. We only want issues that have the label user story. So we only want user stories. So we'll pick that. And now we have our backlog. So remember, our backlog it's like the chunk of work or the work items that we will work on during the sprint. And remember, a sprint can be 1 to 2 weeks long. So we need to break down this work into tasks, right? And I have put in tasks or spikes. Spikes are just things that they're not necessarily features, but they are like if you're learning something and it's not necessarily a thing you can implement like a task. A task would be uh, do the migration from CSS to Tailwind, but at Spike would be learn how to integrate Tailwind, something like that. So it's not deliverable in the form of a feature, but it's still something that you're going to have to do so that you're able to deliver a task. Not sure if that makes sense, but please feel free to Google and like do a research on that. So are we clear up to this point? I know I've talked a lot. Does it make sense? Are there any questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it
Everyone.
makes sense.
Okay. Everyone else, how are we doing?
It's okay from
I'm
my
I'm
end.
good for me.
Okay. Okay. So what do we do now? How do we break down this? So we have these two tasks. Um, let's assume that there were so many, but we picked these two. We want to be able to create a task with a title and other details so that we can identify what needs to be done. And we also want to mark a task as complete or reopen it so that you can track progress. So what we do is we create. So let's start with the creating a task. The user story on creating a task. How would we break that down? And anyone? Let's talk about it. What do you guys think we need to do to make sure that we are able to implement that user story?
Like the process, like the procedure the user goes through to create a task.
No, no. I'm talking about the
Oh,
breakdown of work. Like for us, what do we need to do to be able to satisfy that user story? Now, from a developer point of view, so we are breaking down that um, deliverable.
okay.
Let's assume it was the individual task. I don't know. Let's not do the individual task page because, but let's assume like when you were given the a user story that aligned with individual tasks page. Like how did you break things down so that you can, you know? Anyway, let me not make it too complicated. How would we go about implementing the first user story? Any ideas? Let me start by an example. Mm-hmm. Anyone?
Should we maybe check the technical requirements?
Well, we could. That's a good way to go about it. We could, but in this case, we
Okay.
are we already so let's assume when we talk about technical requirements, we're assuming what exactly? Like in terms of the tech stack, in terms
Uh,
of, or how would you term technical requirements? Let me start by with asking that.
Maybe we can check if the feature will require maybe caching mechanism or third-party APIs.
So
Yeah.
I'd say now that's something we're defining right now. Like that's exactly where we are at defining. So we know what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to ensure that a user can create a task with a title and
Yeah.
other details so that they can identify what needs to be done. Right?
Yeah.
So for that to happen, if we were just to focus on that specific user story and break it down. So first things first, we need to have a tasks page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be one thing. Um, so we're creating this in form of another issue. I know. It's okay. So we will have it as connected to user story number. So you can see each user story has a number. This one is 27, so that we can have a reference. And then we label this as a um, task. Not sure why we shouldn't. Okay, let me just add it as that. So let me create. Okay. Yes, I have to do it again. Uh, okay, at least it's still there. So label it as a task. Can still have an issue type. And we've linked it to that user story.
And on the title, can we split it maybe into backend? Like on the title, we add a tag for front-end task, backend, or database.
Yes, we can have it as a label. So instead of splitting it from the title itself, we can create a label for front end and yeah, yeah. So this, because it's a page, it falls under. I think it should fall under front end because it's just the page, like tasks.html. That um, yeah. So what else do you guys think we should do? What other thing? As a breakdown of the first user story. So we've created the task.
We need to also create a button or a form where the user will create the task.
Yeah, a form is so this page will also cater for, I'd say, the button, but the form is a different thing in itself. Especially, I know I mentioned we're going to cover forms. So good practice is that you'd have a form separate from the code itself, so you not hard code the form in the code itself for maintainability, reusability, all those good things. But yes, so create um, new task form. So this is also a blank issue connected to user story 27. We label it as a task still, be a task as well. And I don't think we need to classify it as front end or back end because where would forms fall under? Not sure. Um, feels like a front end thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
on top of that, maybe how like will we save the inputs to the database?
Now another thing we need to do is, so let me create this. So you've mentioned input to the database, right? That
Yeah,
means, what does that mean with regards
maybe
to,
we'll need a task for
sorry,
the maybe we'll need a task specifically for database
and how do you guys,
tables.
sorry, sorry, I keep interrupting.
We'll be create a new task table.
Hmm. And from how we have set things up, like how things are, how do we usually create a table in the DB with our current
I'm
setup?
not sure. I'm not
Anyone?
sure.
Okay. Um, anyone?
It's in the models.py.
That's it. So remember we have, let me just share that. That's a really good issue we brought up. So from our project, we use these models. We define the models, um, and this is how our models is a representation of how our data is going to look like. So for instance, if you look at the task model, it
Okay.
covers the ID, task ID, the title, description, completed date, all these things. And if you look at it, it shows you like ID is a primary key and it's going to be an integer. And so task is a table, a tasks table, and then these are the columns. So we also have a title, which is a string, and it's not nullable. What it means that it can't be empty. So this is a required field. Description, it's a text. It's of type text. Um, and these ones are optional. These ones, yeah, because if they are not, we could put this as it can't be empty. It can't be null or empty. So we have these other properties like completed, which by default is false because if you're creating a task, it can't be uh, completed can't be true. Like you can't create it and have it as true. Like you're done with it. Completed date, so it takes the date of um, it sets it uh, to true. Should be false. DB date, and then yeah, it should be false. I'm not sure why it's true. and you deleted. So deleted is false by default, and deleted date is nullable. Oh, sorry, my bad. Let me go back to this line. Nullable equals to true. That means it could be empty. Like when you're creating the task, it could be empty. I am so sorry. I don't know what I understood the first time, but it just means that it can be empty. Like you don't need to fill that field. Like it doesn't need to have a value when you're creating it. I hope I have corrected that. Like I haven't mixed anyone up. Sorry for that. But this is essentially what when I was asking on how this is what I meant. So by creating a model of um, in our case, it's a model of what? If we were to, yeah, Nala.
Uh, New, okay. Title, is it title task or new task?
Sorry.
It's a model of new task.
Um, Not necessarily new task, just task. I'd say just task. So we had have a task model because remember we how how should I say it? So assume we haven't created anything yet. I know it's a bit confusing because you already have some things implemented right now,
Mm-hmm.
but assume we haven't implemented this part, like we haven't implemented this user story. So at this point in time, like a user can't create a task with a title and other details so that they can do what they need to do. So if that's the case, then we'd just say we need to create the tasks model.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That is clear.
actually task, not plural. Task model. Yeah. So that would be the next thing because creating the task model in itself makes sure that we have an entry in the database. Like we have a table for that object. Okay. Okay. So we'll still do the same and say connected to user story. And then so this feels like a task that's a backend task. I don't know what you guys think, but it feels let me go back to labels. So to new label. Okay. So we were here. I'm not sure if you can see it immediately. So I guess we have to Okay, let's see if it has it now. I think we have to refresh. Here it is. So backend, and it's a task. Um, so I think you guys get the idea, right? Most of the time, this work will be done by um, an engineering manager, make your manager, or a project manager. So don't think too hard about this. Actually, because it's a technical breakdown, I'd say and your engineering manager will be the one responsible for breaking this work down. And for you, you'd be responsible for like picking. So you'd go to your uh, board like this one and be like, I want to implement the form. So you'd go to the form, to that task, that's this issue, and then assign it to yourself. Like you'd come, be like, oh, I've just assigned it to myself. Anyway, yes, assign it to yourself. Like come say, I am familiar with this, or I'd like to try this out, I'd like to do this task, and then assign it to yourself. And in that case, we would know that you're the one who's responsible for that. Or during the sprint planning, we could assign it to someone. So you don't necessarily have to assign it to yourself, but you can assign it to, let's say, um, Noella. We could assign it to you. So, and you'd be the one responsible for that. Anyway, or we could both be responsible for that. So I don't want you guys to think too hard about this part, mainly because as a software engineer, especially um, junior developers, not unless you're a senior developer who's also responsible for uh, high level things, you don't need to worry about breaking down things necessarily. Why? Because your engineering manager or your PM or your seniors, they have more experience in knowing how things should be broken down into. So they should be the ones responsible for that. Anyway, I wanted us to go through this together so that we have an idea of how, like, the logic behind it. So we're assuming, Noella, you've taken this task and you're currently working on it. So what you'll do is just you'll move it to the in progress column. In this way, we know that you're working on it. And once you're done with that, and you've committed your work, you've created a PR, then you'll put it here. You're like, I'm waiting for someone to review my work. Once I have reviewed the work, everything is good, then I will push it here. When you've already pushed it to awaiting review, you can always come back again and be like, I have more time still during the sprint, and I think I can take up another task. So you come in, assign the task to yourself, or because during this period, remember we have a few meetings in between. So we have something called the stand-up meetings. So this usually happen every day or every other day, and they're called stand-ups because literally people used to stand up to have this meeting. So in that case, because of its nature, they're usually short, like 10, 15 minutes. And the whole point of the meeting is, what did I do yesterday? Did I have any blockers? And what am I planning to do tomorrow? So during these meetings, your EM or your PM would be open, first of all. The board would be open and we'd be looking at the progress of work. So maybe some few things have already been pushed to awaiting review, So in this case, people know that there's some work that needs to be reviewed, and therefore, if you have some time, if your peers have some time, they can also review. But for the required reviewers, like maybe senior engineers or your EM, they know that they have that task to review. Excuse me. And then for the people who have gotten to this stage and maybe they don't have any other tasks assigned, we can now give them more work. Can be like, which one would you like to do? And then they pick and then they get assigned. And then now, you know, so that continues until your sprint of 2 weeks or a week is done. And you're able to look at the backlog and be like, okay, we've covered everything that's under our backlog and all our tasks are done. Sometimes maybe not all the tasks are done, but you can be able to see how much has been accomplished. Does this make sense? Is this clear to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is the typical way people usually work. They might use a different software. Like before, we were using Trello. Some people use Azure DevOps. Some people use Jira. So same approach, just a different software. So in our case, we're using GitHub, and we're using GitHub to create issues and tag them as user stories, or create our user stories as a form of an issue, and then manage our tasks as issues under GitHub project. So if we come here and we look at our issues now, so we have two user stories and we have tasks. Like have a clear we have a clear idea of what needs to be done, essentially, when you come to the issues part. And you can filter it with regards to what the issue is and see who's responsible, see the details, things like that. Anyway, this is generally how um, tasks are usually managed. User stories are broken down, and how teams usually work in an agile manner. So I know this week so we were covering user stories, and we're also covering it in an agile um, team, or a team that uses the agile methodology. So yeah, I think that's it. Not unless anyone has a question, I think we should look at your assignments. Any questions? I have talked so much, so please, if you need more clarification on something, please just um,
I'm okay.
okay. Morad, you're good? Can't
I'm
hear
also
you.
good.
Okay. Noella?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So we still have some time, and I wanted to know if anyone would like to. Was anyone stuck? And if you are, um, what happened? We can see how we can help you. Um, did I'm not sure I've seen this, but how was the assignment for you, Noella? The tailwind, the migration.
Okay, from my end, I managed to migrate the logout and login. Although the logout is not pixel perfect, yeah, and I also came across an issue while I was pulling from the main. I think there are some changes that have not been pushed there, like the routing issues we had last time from the logging page and the logout page. So I fixed the two
Mhm.
and pushed on my branch. And then I think I'm good to go. Maybe if we can review it, if it's okay, we
So,
can merge it to mine.
um, so first of all, good job with it was there were merge conflicts, right? That you
Like I
had
haven't,
the issues that you had when you pulled from main, I'm assuming.
like, okay, I don't think I'm that familiar with merge conflicts. Like, I just fixed the issues on my local branch and
Okay.
pushed the issues on my branch, on my
Hmm.
remote branch,
Hmm.
but it has not been merged to main.
Yeah, yes, yeah, definitely. So, so I was going to say you need to create a pull request so that
Okay,
I can review and then merge to main. Are you familiar with creating a pull request?
and 9. Maybe you can show me.
Okay, yes, that would be a very good opportunity for us to go through that together. So, if you
Okay.
don't mind, okay, Morad, have a good day, and please check out the review I did for you for your PR under your PR, and then um, let me know once you've made some changes, Morad. Thanks for coming for the session. And then, since the session is recorded, you can also watch it later on. So, sorry, Noella. Murad was saying he was leaving, so that's why. So please feel free to share your screen, and then we can go through it together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me present my screen.
Stop sharing. Bring this here.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Right. So, what I did from my end, starting with the logouts. For the logout page, I tried making the code reusable by separating the components. Like I separated the components for the CSS components that I used them on my logout page. But for the login, I didn't separate the components. So this is how it
Was
looks.
it? Were you using Tailwind?
Yeah, I used Tailwind.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go like page by page to 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 do what to change the previous styles.
Uh-huh.
So what I did,
Hmm.
I created like a separate like component, for instance, like
Hmm.
base.css, and then I was tagging I created a style, for instance, dot. highlights,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was tagging the specific Tailwind CSS style, like at apply text blue 600 to this style, and then I was mapping this dot highlight style now to my specific maybe index.html file.
Do you mind
Let me try.
showing us how you did that?
Okay, let me start maybe with the logout.
Mm-hmm.
So for logouts, I have a style, a class named page.logout here. So what I was doing, I created under I created a page inside my SRC folder called logout.css, and then under logout.css, like I mapped this dot page logout style. Okay, think who is leaving?
Yeah, it's okay, Faith.
Someone is
No, Faith is leaving. Yeah, it's
chatting.
okay. No problem. No problem. The good thing is the meeting is recorded, so you can check the recording once I'm done editing. I'll let you guys know once it's up on YouTube. So we can just continue, Noella. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So after I created the dot page layout class, like I mapped the respective classes for Tailwind CSS here, and then I was using now the dot page layout class inside my logout page directly
Mm,
here.
yeah, that's a good way of doing it. I honestly haven't tried that approach. I think
Okay.
it's more um, what is it called?
Allows
Where you
reusability.
can use, yeah, I was going to say where you can use it over and over again. Yeah, but yeah, it makes it more reusable because you've defined it once and just, and it's also a good thing because you can make sure that it's standard, right? Like if it's buttons, they are all going to look the same. If it's, they're all going to look the same. So it's a really good approach actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
So in
maybe for
this,
instance, you can have secondary, maybe colors for buttons, primary
mm-hmm,
colors.
mm-hmm,
Then you just call the specific, maybe either primary or secondary class inside your page.
yes, exactly. Actually, this is a really,
Yeah.
really good way of doing it, and I'm happy that you've used this approach. I think we will use this for the other components. So we'll try and
So,
identify the reusable components. Sorry.
yeah.
No, I was just going to say we'll try and look at the reusable components like buttons, forms, cards, what else? What else is usually reusable?
Cards, forms, buttons, what
All
else?
those,
Uh-huh.
and we'll identify them, the ones that are reusable, and then
Yeah.
uh, even text, like if it's a title or if it's a subtitle and all that, and then
Mm-hmm.
we will use this approach for those ones. So yeah, thanks for
Let me
yeah.
just try the app
Mhm.
to ensure nothing is broken before I create a pull request.
Oh yeah, yes, that's a good way. So it's dev. Is it dev CSS or yours is dev just dev?
It's just dev.
Could we go to the package.json file just so that I can see your script? Mm. Oh, okay. So yours is a little different. Mm, so what you'll need to do,
Mm-hmm.
you need to pull from main, because I know for
Okay.
main the script for that is dev colon css. I'm only saying that
Mm-hmm.
because it'll come as a conflict, a merge conflict. I'm not saying what you've done is wrong, so that we have the same um like the
Command to
same
run.
commands stroke files. Yes, files with the same commands. Yeah, especially those ones, because I know package.json we're using it everywhere. And not just that, but for for it to be on main, it should be, because main already has this file, so there's a chance that it will be a merge conflict. Anyway, let's run it. Let's make sure everything is running okay, and then we will pull from main and see if there's any conflicts, and then resolve it accordingly.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so I think you have everything running, so we
Yeah.
can check out your.
So this is how the logout is
Oh yeah.
currently.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I click on yes, it's redirecting us to login.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if looking at the design,
Mm-hmm.
there's just the only thing that I see that's a little different. Let me see. Is the yeah, the title, the that Ongea task thing. I can see it's at the center at the top,
Oh
and
yeah.
then I'd say the font. So font weight, as well as we don't have an exclamation, and then um, let's see, spacing also, I'd say, and then the background color. So I can see the background is it, oh, the background color is the same. Okay, okay. So I'd also say the login button is different, and then the
Oh
forgot
yeah.
password has an underline. Also, I think sign up has an underline. Um, yeah. So technically, like these are the comments I would have given you, because I would have gone to the design page, and then yeah, and then I can see the page doesn't have a border, so we don't
Yeah.
have, yeah, and then the colors are I can see the same. I know it's not centered right now, but uh, it's supposed to be centered in the design. The design looks like it's a little bit on the left, right? It doesn't look centered, but ideally it's supposed to be centered, all the components. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I would just say um, before creating a PR, or no, we'll actually create a PR with what you have, but based on what we've seen right now, you can just make those, because they are very small changes. I'm pretty sure they're very small changes. So
Yeah.
you can make those changes, and then I'll do a review on it.
Or it's
Okay. So for the component styles that you've created, I think that's mainly for like the buttons, the reusable stuff, right? But I think you still need some custom Tailwind classes for your page. That is to help you like center things. You might find that.
uh, like for instance for
Oh,
logouts I
oh,
have
you've
like
done
dot
it.
page.
Okay, I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see you
Yeah.
have it here. Okay, okay, okay. Now for the ones that are not necessarily reusable like for the specific pages. I don't know if there's an additional benefit of declaring having them as components. I would assume that just adding the Tailwind classes would directly onto the pages would
Mm-hmm.
make your life easier, like would make it, um, what do you
Yeah,
think? Yeah, because for the
I
reusable
think that's
stuff, like buttons and all that, I think this component approach is good.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you think though? Like I know you had a reason to also implement that, so
It's a good thought. Actually,
mm,
I was open, like I was just interested, like in learning how to make like CSS classes reusable.
mm,
Yeah, but yeah, like your point is right. Sometimes like there are specific components, maybe a different maybe heading, a heading that is not reusable. It doesn't make sense to create a specific component for it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I don't know if you are okay with. I guess we could leave it this way for logout and login,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be. I'm not sure how maintainable it will be because you're just using it on the logout and login page.
Like by maintainable, you
So
mean
let's assume the login page or load this logout page. So I want to make changes to some style on the login page. We've decided to change the layout of the background
mm-hmm,
and some other things. Then instead of going directly to the cs logout.html, I have to come here and make the changes from here. And
mm-hmm,
okay, I guess it's still okay, but
yeah,
as opposed to going to logout.html and just putting in I guess honestly it's okay, but
specified.
I'd say because you're not reusing it, it feels
Mm-hmm.
like it would be simpler to just add those classes directly to the
Page.
HTML, kind of to
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know what do you think? In my head it just feels for the specific pages, especially not for the reusable components, just for the specific pages.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Like for future improvements,
For
like
future,
this is
yeah,
a good goal.
yeah, yeah,
But like if it is just a one-time project, I think it makes sense to just maybe go in the index.html or at the logouts.html and
yeah,
apply the style directly there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is mainly for future improvement.
Okay, so okay, I'd say there's nothing wrong with how you've done it, honestly, because your styles are there, they are working, and um, I can like they're working technically. For the components,
Yeah.
that's actually perfect. We will use that approach for other components. The only maybe going forward for the specific pages, we could just add those classes directly. Just Just feels
Okay.
like um, it will make it easy to make changes if you want to make changes. But if this works for you still, it's okay. Honestly, as long as the styles are like the you've implemented it the way like the styles aligned with the design, and that's okay. Because the goal is to have it align with the design.
The
So
design.
yeah, that's okay.
All right.
Yeah. It's just this is like extra steps. Creating a separate file, creating the tags or the class to be, the component, the classes
Yeah.
and the selectors, and then adding the specific classes. It kind of feels like extra steps as opposed to with no additional benefit because you're not reapplying it, like you're not reusing the logout box in other pages. So um, yeah, it feels like more work for the same um, effect.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but still, you've already done it. So I'm not going to ask you to change anything because you've already done it. So you can use this approach for your pages with the changes that I've recommended. And for other things in future, maybe we can use the direct approach on the page. Yeah.
On the page. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. So now we
Yeah.
were supposed to do two things. We're supposed to pull from main, and then we are
Mm.
also supposed to create a PR. So let's start by pulling from main.
Okay.
Yes. So let's do. Mhm.
I get pulled from here.
So git pull origin main.
Okay, if I leave right now, I need to prepare for work in a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's okay, Abby. Thanks so much for joining. I will
Mhm.
have the recording up. I'll share it once I have it up. And I don't know, did you have any
Okay.
question for?
No, I created a pull request for
Mhm,
my work.
mhm.
It fixed a few things, but yeah, just that. I don't have any questions.
Okay, cool. So I'll review it and then I'll
Yeah.
give you feedback and then you'll get
Okay.
to work on it
Okay. You
if
guys have
there's
a
any
good week.
feedback. Yeah, you too. You too.
Okay.
Thanks for
Okay.
joining. Okay.
I'll let you know if I have any problems. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can see your your branch is up to date. So you're good. Let's I usually do git status just to see if there's anything I've changed. Then we're good. Everything that you have has been committed. So I'd say let's go to GitHub and then create our PR from there.
All
Nice.
right.
So you can see that if you go to code before we come to pull requests, there should be this branch is 3 commits ahead of main. Okay. Could you click the contribute, the one on the right? Open pull request. Yeah. So now what it's saying is, yeah, you want to compare that branch, your branch, and then you want to merge it to main. So that's great. So we have a PPR, pull request template. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see it. So with this pull,
Okay.
that's the template. With this template, you will fill this all those details so that for anyone who's reviewing, I know I'm a required reviewer, but you can have, there's a chance that your peers would also review your work. So for anyone who is reviewing, they have an idea
Mm-hmm.
of the changes that you've made. It just helps. Um, it helps with the review time, with the review process. So we don't have to like guess what exactly you worked on. Like we have an idea of exactly what it is. So starting from the top, you will put
Yeah.
in the title
Yeah.
at the top of the no, it's still under description, but at the top. Yeah. So just scroll down a little bit. No, scroll. Yeah. So you have the pull
Mhm.
request title, so you'll add your title there. So in our case, you can put Tailwind migration for logout and sign in page. So you'll remove everything. Those ones are comments.
Okay.
Yeah, it was logout and sign in, right? And login. Yeah,
Yeah.
login page. So is it login page or sign in page? I can't remember. Let me see.
It was login.
It's login. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me put this somewhere I can see. Sorry, just a second. Okay.
Okay.
And then description. So you can put a more detailed description of that. So what would that be?
Like the specific, is it the specific, okay, what can we put it here?
So you could say migrating styles from traditional CSS to Tailwind CSS.
Mm-hmm.
For the logout and login page, using okay, full stop, and then you could say, because you've used components as well, I want to kind
Yeah.
of include that. Making use of, yeah, that could be the next statement. Making use of Tailwind components.
On the logout page,
Mm,
I didn't use the login.
sorry, what?
I used mm, components on the logout page only.
Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Then you can add that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So related issues. So now this is the part where you see how today we've broken things down with regards to issues, right? So
Yeah.
imagine if we had all our work broken down in form of issues, and this was one of the tasks. So what you would have done is you would have taken the issue number. So you would like write there like connected to issue number something, you know. And when we
Yeah.
are going through the each issue like on the board, on the sprint board, or the Kanban
Mm-hmm.
board, we would easily like if I'm looking at that work, let's say it's under review, I'll just click on it and then I'll see, oh, there's a PR connected to this, and then go to the PR, and then, I think now you can see how they are sort of related, right? Um,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
right now we don't have an issue yet. So you can just click, you can write NA, not applicable, under related issues. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now for the type of change that you've made. So you will put an X in the enclosed in the brackets, the square brackets. So it wasn't a bug, right? And it wasn't a new feature. I'd say it was a refactor. So just put a not an asterisk, an X. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that. And then we didn't do any changes in the database, right? We didn't migrate anything, and we haven't done additional we haven't updated the documentation. In our case, our main documentation is the README file, so we haven't done that, and we
Yeah.
haven't updated any tests. So first of all, you don't have any tests available yet, and therefore we don't have that. So
I
ha,
fixed two bugs.
so you fixed?
Two bugs. The logout and login routing issue that we had before.
Nice, nice. So you can also put an X in the first one. Yeah. So you can remove the space after X so that it's like, anyway, I don't know if it'll make a big change, but just sorry. So
Yeah.
thanks for reminding me that. I had forgotten that, but that's good because I'll also, when I'm reviewing, I'll see the files changed, and I'll see the routing
Mm-hmm.
files, the routes API underscore routes file, and I'll be like, what was happening here? So that helps me understand. So even in the
Okay.
description, you need to add that and say that you also fixed a routing issue.
Mm, was it login.index page and logout.index page?
So the pages are html.html.html.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, log up.
Mm,
Yeah. Okay. So now let's scroll down to the. Okay. So that one is okay. Now we need to do a checklist on the testing. So the question is, how has this been tested? So we just want to make sure that before you create some work for other people to review, you've actually tested your code to make sure that it's running. I know it sounds very obvious, but there are some people who don't test their work. They just make the changes, talk about what they've changed, but they haven't tested it themselves. So this could be a manual testing, which I think we have done manually, because I can't say that we've done it. It's not automated, if you ask me. So we'll
yeah.
mark it as manual testing. Did we do any API tests? We didn't. So this is if you've changed something in the API, and you've also used Postman to confirm that everything is working accordingly. Um,
Yeah.
and we don't have any automated tests, so we'll just use the first one. Checklist. you can see if there's anything that applies. Um, so you could say the last one, you have reviewed your own code. There was no migration. There was no, all those other things don't apply. So the other part is you can add a screenshot. There are some things that just it's more like just giving the reviewer more information to
Detail.
work with. Yeah, more details to work with. So in some cases, if it's
Mhm.
relevant to have a screenshot, like this is the one before and after, like these are the changes, like this, my change has included or it has added this, and you can clearly see it here, things like that. If it makes sense, you can always take a screenshot and attach it. And then additional notes is just as it's saying additional notes, like there's something that came up while you were doing this work. Maybe you've realized it looks different in a different device. I don't know. Honestly, it's more like what else can you tell the other people in the team when they are reviewing? What information do you think they might need to know to review your work better?
Okay.
So it might be like if you use it on Mozilla, it'll look different than if you use it from in Chrome. There's no the work like functionality wise, it's the same. It just looks different. Anything. Anyway, now we are done. So you can create the pull request.
Pull request.
Usually, automatically it'll assign me as a required reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
But you can ask your other teammates to review. So if you scroll up, you see on the right, you always have
Yeah.
the ability to request them to review. You'll find that most people in a team, because you know in a team you'll have different levels of people. You'll have juniors, you'll have mid level, you'll have seniors, and you'll have your engineering manager. So
Mm-hmm.
you might ask, uh, maybe before you send it to a senior person to review, because most of the time they don't have so much time on their hands, you might send it to
Mm-hmm.
like either a junior or a mid-level person to review. And then if they find something, you can quickly fix it. If they don't, then you might be like, okay, let me send it to a senior person to review.
Mm-hmm.
And then, their review could be different from what a junior or a mid-level person would, you know. So anyway, you can send requests. That's generally what I wanted to mention. So if you scroll down, you
Okay.
can see your template, like how you filled out and how it looks. It makes life so much easier for the person who wants to review your work because
Review.
they have an idea of the changes you've made.
Okay.
So now I will see this and then I will review and I'll leave comments. But in
Okay.
the meantime, I think there's some changes that you mentioned you'll make with regards to aligning with the Figma design. The good thing is if you still commit your work to the same branch, it'll
Mm-hmm.
still be okay. I'll still see it on this PR. So you don't have to create another PR.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So do you have any questions to that point?
None at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. And like when you try to merge, that is
Mhm.
when maybe you will maybe encounter merge conflicts.
Well, considering you are on your branch and you didn't be pulled from main and we didn't get any merge conflicts, I don't expect that we will. Because if there was a conflict in the PR itself, in the under conversation, I believe it would have shown merge conflicts because it usually scans for that also. Yeah. At the bottom, it would have picked it up and be like potential issues, merge conflict, this and that. Yeah. So there's no
Okay,
there's no conflict right now.
that is okay.
Okay. Any other
Yeah.
question?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.